Although NASCAR gets a break from the super speedway chaos after a pair of fun weeks at Daytona and Atlanta, we're going left and right now as Circuit of the Americas hosts the Cup and the O'Reilly Series this weekend. Let's break it all down on the back road, coming up next.
I don't drive a Monte Carlo, and my truck ain't painted black. It ain't got a big white number 3 turning left around the track. Let's go!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Back Road. This is In Between Media's NASCAR betting show. Elliot Hicks, Chris Collichio here with you to break down the NASCAR weekend at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Like I said in the intro, Chris, going from the super speedway chaos right to the road course chaos. It's a hell of a fun way to get the season rolling.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and being in attendance at Atlanta this weekend was a blast. So I'm so pumped to talk about Atlanta and look forward to road courses and then honestly onto the real season at that point.
Yeah, for real. Phoenix, Las Vegas coming after this weekend. We'll really start to get a who's who, but that doesn't mean we can't make some money on these races for sure. I'm excited to hear about your weekend from Echo Park Speedway. We'll break that down in the rear view. An exciting weekend there. 3 really fun winners in the Horizon Forecast. We will break down all there is to know about COTA, everything in the great model that you put out, Chris, along with Seth and Ryan for my fantasy race. And then in the parking garage props, our best bets for the first road course race of the year in the Cup and O'Reilly Series season. If you want to hear about the Truck Series and IndyCar at St. Petersburg, Florida, Seth and I will have a bonus episode coming out on the Backroad YouTube channel talking about those bets. Of course, on the IBT channel, we appreciate everyone who's here. But if you want to focus just on the racing stuff, we have our sub-channel at _Backroad. Collaborated with this. It's where our bonus shows go. We'd like to have you over there for sure. We'd also like to have you in the IBT Racing family, $3.99 a month or $36 for the year. Free to join the conversation, though, with all of us. Free to enter the memorabilia giveaways as well. But, Chris, man, all that hard work you put in the model, we're going to charge a little bit for that because it is well worth it. It's helped us a lot already this season and will continue to do so. That's under that paywall. Seeing our full weekly motorsports betting cards under that paywall as well. And the head-to-head matchups contest to win autographed mystery diecast and a plaque at the end of the year. I'm still in the lead on that one, although I'm tied with a few others. I think you're one of them, Chris. That'll be exciting to watch as the season goes on. And that's how we'll end the show tonight with that head-to-head matchup pick, along with the racing family, that same entry cost into the football family. Combine this week, draft coming up in Pittsburgh. Going to try to make it to the Thursday night, see the first round for myself and what it's like. So that's going on the football side. The entertainment side, Survivor 50, big contest going on over there. And as things warm up, the golf bets only get better as well. Apparently some stuff to sweat out this weekend on the PGA side. Always a lot of fun over there and always a lot of fun here in the comments too. Appreciate everyone who's already checked in. Marcus, I feel like you take a lot of pride in being first because you're first pretty often. I know you enjoyed the COTA race a lot last year, Marcus, predicting Christopher Bell winning last year, and he got to see it in person. Man, that's so much fun to see your favorite driver win in person. Something luckily we'll get to talk about in a little bit. From what I hear, 19th hole checking in, Tyler Reddick top 10, like your life depends on it. That's a pretty good bet. We'll definitely talk some Reddick. Seth also all in on Reddick and Chase over Larson. First gainers of the season. Man, Seth, you're not putting in the gainers on the super speedways. I don't know what you're doing there. Nick checking in saying what's up. Thinking Connor Zilisch gets his first win on Sunday. Another guy we're going to talk about a lot. And yeah, I'll checking in again, Nick, throwing in the Connor Zilisch stuff. Appreciate all the live viewers. Appreciate everybody checking in afterward, not only on the YouTube, but also on Apple Podcasts. Already a couple reviews coming over there. Seth and I were just talking about a little micro giveaway for everything going on over there. Appreciate everyone who leaves us a review and streams the show on Apple Podcasts. Of course, we hope you love to look at our wonderful faces, all the memorabilia I got in the background. But if you're just throwing us on in the car or in the background or something like that, we appreciate that too. And Chris, always lots of fun going on over on your end. I know the big place to follow you is at flag_hunting, throwing out the bets every week over there on your Twitter/X account.
Yeah, absolutely. As we get to the heart of the season, I'll start throwing out like a Saturday sweat card. We'll start looking at some qualifying bets, and yeah, we'll be rolling. And then Ian's already throwing out golf cards every Thursday as well. Another fellow member of the IBT team over here. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And those poll bets certainly are exciting too, is what I was trying to say. You've definitely had a few gainers, and I'm excited to be on board with you for a few of those. But the road courses, more predictable than they've ever been, with a couple of drivers in the field that we've already talked about. One that we haven't had to mention in the comments yet, which is surprising. Before we get to that, though, got to break down everything from Atlanta in the rear view.
Baby, that's how you do it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. You are the man. No way! We did it! Yeah!
Exciting weekend down there at Atlanta's Echo Park Speedway. Before we get to the racing, before we get to the bets, man, I want to hear what a hell of a good time you had down there at Atlanta this weekend.
Yeah, no, it was a blast. I truthfully, I only got down there for Sunday, so I missed out on the Saturday stuff, which sucked because those were two good races too. But yeah, I mean, I live in Charlotte, obviously, so it's just about a 4-hour drive to get down to Atlanta, and I've sat on my couch the last 2 years watching this Atlanta race, thinking like, I've got to get down there. Like, it's just too good of racing to not. And it delivered. It delivered in every way. I mean, it is such a fun track. Truthfully, I was actually a little worried that I wasn't going to be able to see the whole track because I got my tickets from the fan reward system, which, by the way, if you're not part of the fan reward system, you need to be. It's so easy. Just check in on, you're watching the race anyways, just check in on the app every week, and then you can cash them in for tickets into the year. So that's what I used mine on. So we sat, our tickets were actually row 4. I've never sat that low before. But you could still see everything just fine. It was awesome. And then, yeah, I mean, the racing as a whole, I mean, you're glued the entire time. I mean, we all are like that anyways, the super speedway racing, where you just kind of feel like you're on the edge of your seat waiting for like what's going to happen. Even more so when you're in person. It's just, I mean, everything is right there in front of you. What's cool though is the one thing I appreciate about Atlanta over, Talladega or Daytona is having a good car matters. Like, it actually does matter. Like, it's drafting and pack style racing, but having a fast car really is important. And you can see that live in person. I don't know if it's as visible on TV as it is in person, but I mean, like Kyle Larson, for example, before he wrecked out, you could tell he had a good car. You could tell Bubba had a good car. I mean, Reddick and Reddick as well. I mean, he was a guy who started up front that I expected to just kind of get blown by as the race started, and he just hung around all day. He was there all day long. So yeah, I mean, the whole thing was really, really fun. The crowd seemed like it was a really good crowd too. And yeah, truthfully, I would tell anybody that it's probably a top 3 or 4 track for me now. And I urge anybody, if you have a chance to go, you should.
Yeah, I'm glad it was a good time. Really, all 3 of the super speedways on my bucket list, Pocono, Watkins Glen are the 2 kind of within driving distance from here in good old Western Pennsylvania, but definitely be worth the road trip or the flight. And you said Reddick is one of your guys, right? So getting to see him go to Victory Lane, man, that's if there's ever when we're there covering a race weekend and that 48 car wins at Pocono, the content will be a hell of a lot different than it would be otherwise. So that's got to be just a top-notch A+ experience too.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously I was thrilled. I'm a Reddick fan, so I was very happy. But there is something to be said where like you are a little bummed for your bets. I said it when I was on Daytona show, Elliot did it not. I had a lot of hope for Hocevar. I had him on my card. I really thought he was going to get the job done. So I will say I was rooting for Hocevar those last 2 laps. So when Reddick came across the line, I wasn't mad, but I was definitely, I think I put in the Discord, my pocket's empty, but my heart's full because Reddick got the job done. So
yeah, and that's what a well-adjusted fan would do. I probably wouldn't consider myself as well-adjusted of a fan as most when it comes to my favorite driver. But hey, definitely a wild way for him to end up in Victory Lane. Ends up without a right front fender. His teammate Bubba Wallace, probably the better car there at the end, having to make some crazy moves though on Hocevar, ends up getting shuffled to the back. Carson not quite able to get it done, despite trying his damnedest, going into about a 3/4 car hole that just didn't exist. Fair or foul there on that move from Hocevar?
Ooh, good question. I'm gonna say foul. I'm gonna say foul. As much as I want to say fair, because I had money on him and I was biased, and we all were rooting for him. I think they just didn't need to force it right there. I think at that point in time, you didn't have to do that. I think he had a fast enough car. Like, I think he just could have waited. He had Ross behind him. There's another Chevy, but there's 3 Chevys lined up there at the end because it was basically Toyota versus Chevy. So I just think it was a little too soon. I don't think he really needed to do that. I think it would have played out a little bit better for him if he would have just waited, because we saw the next restart, he had the run, but then he didn't have the help behind him after that. So I'm gonna say foul in this instance.
Yeah, I can argue though with the fair side though, as Hunter says here,
100%.
but it really though, I would probably lean foul over fair. It's fair in the chance that if you're a race car driver who doesn't go for a hole that you think is open to go win a race, are you really a race car driver? So I completely understand that. But those are the type of moves that, I took the over half a win in the preseason for him. He's got speed. We have the faith in Spire, especially with Chris Gabehart. Whether that's fair or foul, whole different conversation that we're not going to touch on all that much tonight, unless you have some burning opinion on it. But in any case, with Hocevar, that's why a lot of people, Denny Hamlin included, are thinking, this kid's first win may be a little further down the horizon. And I think Denny said on Actions Detrimental that there's going to be a time where he thinks he's going to win. And because of what he's done in the past, some veteran driver in the field is going to say, Carson, maybe this isn't your day to win and it's not going to work. Either way, though, he's exciting to watch. Just as the rest of the weekend was. It's a shame you couldn't make it down there for Saturday. Pair of really good races. On the truck side, Kyle Busch and Hocevar, who we've just been talking about, they do the shake and bake and get Rowdy back to victory lane for the first time in about a calendar year. I'll tell you what, though, I was on the Hocevar outright in the trucks. Had I known that he was going to be unable or unwilling to go for the win, I would not have bet that outright, nor his matchup over Kyle Busch. But hey, the little shake and bake, 2 guys that I would not have anticipated working together, but it worked out pretty well. Maybe a little sly recruitment job too. The guy who just signed long-term with Spire. Hey, it's pretty nice over here, Rowdy Busch. Free agent next year, maybe a car open. Could be fun to see.
Yeah, 100%. And how cool was that? Like when him and Hocevar were doing donuts together at the end. Like that was. I mean, like I said, like I just said foul for Hocevar, but like I am a fan of Hocevar. Like I think he's great for the sport, 100%. And that was really cool to see him. And then like all he said at the end was that he just wanted to do a high five with Kyle Busch, which is just hilarious because roles reverse. Kyle's not doing that for Carson.
No, yeah, what Hocevar said, he wanted a good picture for the marketing team too, that high five. So definitely good for the Spire partners for sure. On the fair or foul, TK saying fair only because Bell moved, but not a good move. Yeah, Bell moved just enough to kind of maybe open a hole, but I think that's one of those, a veteran driver is not making that move. A young guy who really wants his first win is making that move.
Yeah, and I think Harvick said it best, right? Like there was a hole, but the hole was gone by the time Hocevar got there. So,
and hey, the O'Reilly Series race 2 was so close to being the Austin Hill show again at the very end, even though they'd kind of held him back most of the day. Ross Chastain, the hero we needed, puts the bumper to the 21. Didn't quite send him to Abu Dhabi, like I said in the Discord, moved him just enough. Hill makes a great save. I mean, that gets lost in the talk of the winner. Sheldon Creed, after 15 second place finishes, finally gets the checkered flag. Hill thankfully saves it, doesn't take out half the field in the meantime, but you can't not feel good for Sheldon Creed finally getting the checkered flag after being the bridesmaid time and time again.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that was really cool for them. And as their second race as a Chevy too, right? They're a Chevy team now. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool for them. But yeah, I mean, if you were asking the same question, fair or foul on Chastain, I'm going to say fair in that instance because I think Hill just pulled a late block. I just think he pulled a late block and Chastain wasn't gonna let up. So tough. Sorry, Hill. Nice knowing you. You would have done the same thing.
Yeah, and Austin Hill said as much after the race. He wasn't, he said, "Oh, Ross doing Ross things," but it was just as much his fault, if not more so, than it was Chastain's. And Ross is that kind of guy. If you come down on him, he's not going to move. He's going to go for the win. Would have been foul if he had, right hooked him in front of the field or something like that.
For sure.
Totally fair. And he thought he might have had a shot at the win there, but Sheldon Creed finally getting it done. A really exciting weekend of winners for sure. And thankfully for me, a really good weekend on the betting card. Bubba not able to get the win, but able to get a top 10 that I cashed at plus 150. Most exciting bet of the weekend for me. Zane Smith, I'm looking down the running order. I had his top forward. I see him about 7th or 8th place. I'm like, Toyota, Chevy. Zane Smith, top forward, back to the well at 22-1 hits for me. Race going to overtime at 2-1. Such an easy bet, any super speedway. That hits. Winning number over 22.5 hits for me as well at plus 220. Lower series, I'm able to hit a matchup a piece. Love over Hill at plus 110. Haley over Riggs at plus 100, though. In the truck race, I went a little. The Haley top 5 made no sense, but was able to get the Haley over Riggs after he had a tire problem at the end. first positive week out of the 3 race weekends this year for me. So definitely happy about that. And hey, you were not left silent on the betting card either in terms of the winning ones for the week.
Finally, Elliot. It's been real bad over here in the flag hunting world, but finally I'm on the board. Yeah, Chastain Caprice was one I felt really good about. It was actually my head-to-head in the head-to-head matchup game as well. So that one felt good. And then the other matchup I had was Cindric over Hamlin, which was an easy bet all day long until Cindric gets in that late wreck.
Yeah.
And then I talked about, obviously, I had a host of our outright tickets. So there was definitely a good sweat at least.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Penske, though, man, I mean, they got to be a big storyline here. They were not able to dominate either of the first 2 super speedway races. I'm hoping that helps their odds a little bit at Talladega because, I mean, the prices have been a little juicy, at least for super speedway outrights, but definitely probably some looking back in the mirror in that meeting room, and they did not accomplish anything they wanted to in those first 2 super speedway races.
No, not at all. And I'll tell you, I mean, I was on Blaney too, and I really thought Blaney was going to be better than he was. And even when he did get out front, you could just tell he didn't have a good car. Like he couldn't hang on to the lead. So yeah, I would say a track that I was in the chat last week saying it was Penske's playground, not anymore.
No, and I mean, Cindric, it's put him in a points hole. Blaney and Logano not quite where they want to be either. One more comment here from TK. Probably a good view, even being up close. Stands built with intentional distance from the track in case a car hits the fence somehow. Yeah, that kind of seems like the standard. I remember as a kid, was really up close one race at Pocono, I think first or second row right by the flag stand. And it's cool to be up close when they're coming by on the front straight, but then they go back all the way around. I mean, people who watch on TV, and especially if you've been there in person, just how big Pocono really is. It's great when they fly by the straightaway and then, we got to look at the TV screen and wait for them to come back around. So really glad that was able to work out. You were able to still see the whole track, get a good seat, see a good finish. Any other thoughts you want to share from the Atlanta weekend before we move forward?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, like I said, it was a fun weekend to be down there, and I would recommend it to anybody, but probably not the summer race. I know it's under the lights, but July in Atlanta, could you imagine? No, that's not for me.
Yeah, that's going to get hot, but the racing, if it's anything like it was last summer, going to be red hot too.
Yeah.
Hunter Diddy saying that's the reason Austin Hill, I believe he's talking about, ain't in the Cup Series. Hunter Blazier, he hits like an aggressive driver. I like it. I think that was talking about Hocevar. TK mentioned Blaney staying on very old tires for some reason, probably hurt him too much. Yeah, a bit of that stretch. He got a little weird at the end of the race there, but in any case, though, I feel like Penske's got a lot of improvement to do, especially on their type of tracks, because Lord knows the last few years, it has not come with the road courses. Not a lot of Penske on our cards this week. Lots of fun on the cards. We'll get to them shortly after we break down everything there is to know about Circuit of the Americas in the Horizon Forecast. All right, so this week's entry lists the Cup Series, your 36 chartered cars. Jesse Love running in the 33 as well. Good to get him some Cup seat time for sure. O'Reilly going to be a little more chaotic. 40 entries for 38 spots. A couple of the notable ones. This one may be a little further down the betting card. Alex LeBay, a guy who's had some success on road courses in the number 0. The 2 guys probably running in the front of the field, though. Connor Zilisch in the number 1. SVG in the number 9 for JRM. Brent Cruz, though, could be right behind him. He will make his debut for the season in the number 19. It's weird, the age limits. He's not quite 18 yet. They said you can't run Daytona or Atlanta. We'll let you run COTA, but then I think the next 2 weeks he can't run again before turning 18, I think before Darlington. Either way, though, going to be a guy to watch throughout the year. And then Chastain is right back in at 32 for Jordan Anderson Racing. The important parts of the schedule, Friday night, 5 p.m. O'Reilly practice and qualifying, so we'll get the field set. 10 a.m. Cup practice and qualifying going to be on Prime. 3:11 p.m. on Saturday, the Focused Health 250 O'Reilly race. Stage lengths 20, and 25. And then Sunday on Fox, after that IndyCar race at St. Pete, the DuraMAX Grand Prix, 349 green flag, if I didn't say so already. Stage lengths 20, 25, and 50. COTA, a place that I'm really glad we've started to come the last couple of years. Pretty new, built in, I think, 2010. They either broke ground or finished it. 2010's track coming in. Built for F1. They've started to race other series there as well as NASCAR since 2021. They used to run the full 3.41 mile circuit, 2021 to 2024. Last year they ran, I think they call it the national course, maybe the NASCAR course. Either way, shorter course, 2.4 miles long, still multi-elevational counterclockwise road course. Cuts out that right there's like a really long straights, a little hairpin turn. That's a great passing opportunity for the open wheel guys. But for NASCAR, makes sense to keep it a little shorter and still Chris some really good racing there last year. Even though SVG and those guys didn't dominate the race like they did. COTA, arguably the best road course race last year.
Yeah. And I think the important part of running this shorter course is really when it comes down to like stage breaks and cautions, right? So like, I mean, there was, it would take 30 minutes for a caution because this course is so long. So, I mean, I think it makes sense for us to run this shorter course. The cars doesn't seem to do great up that first hill. I think that's my only complaint about this track is I don't think that really is built for a stock car. But otherwise, I think it's a great complex. And I've actually had a friend, and he was down there for the F1 race last year and said it's just in top shape. So I think it's something that needs to stay on the calendar for sure. And it's like you said, it's produced great racing, so there's no reason to change that.
Yeah, they've definitely lowered the amount of road courses, obviously, this year on the schedule, but still recent enough data that we can pull from. Primary comps, probably Sonoma and Watkins Glen. They are the more traditional built road courses. Secondary, of course, we haven't gone to the San Diego Street Course yet. When we do, we can probably look back at this COTA race to kind of have an idea of who could be good there. Probably can look back at some Chicago data and Roval data from last year. Overall, though, I do think it's important to note the similarities between the traditional road courses that were built to be road courses and the Rovals and the street courses and the temporary ones of the like for sure.
Yep, that's exactly what I did for the model. So for anyone who has access to it, there's a tab on the model that's called Index. If you're ever curious what any of my tabs are referencing, there's an Index tab that'll tell you what I'm referencing. So I had 3 categories this week. I had one that's called Roads, and that's basically just your Watkins Glen, Sonoma, Mexico City, COTA, Roval, and the Chicago. So pretty much everything that we ran last year. Then I have one that says Road Courses. That's just Watkins Glen, Sonoma, Mexico City, and COTA. So I'm leaving out Roval and Chicago. And then I have True Comp Tracks, which is Watkins Glen, Sonoma, and Mexico City. I am including Mexico's. I do think, that is a road, a more traditional like circuit. So those are my 3 kind of main comps for the model this week.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And pulling up the model standings here, you would expect a certain Kiwi to be on top of the model. Not the case, though, this week here at COTA.
Yeah, color me surprised, too, when I put this together. I mean, full disclosure, I pulled the same stats that I pull pretty much every week. I don't try to, like, finagle the numbers to get it to say what I want. I just pull the same numbers, and in the end, I just kind of see how it shakes out. And then, yeah, color me surprised when I saw William Byron on the top of the model this week. Not far ahead of SVG by any means, but to play devil's advocate, the only road course SVG hasn't won at. He didn't win last year. Not to say that he's not going to win this year, but clearly Byron has been very, very strong here, and I think is worthy of taking a look at that top spot.
Yeah, not to give away too much, of course, because it is, of course, a paid benefit to our subscribers to the IBT Racing family. But the top names, we used to put out the top 10 of the week, so I got no problem reading some of these off. It makes sense. The model really kind of aligning with sort of what we expected, even though SVG was not top. He is second place, just a couple percentage points behind. Then it's the who's who of guys who have been good at COTA and good at road courses. Reddick, Chastain, Bell, Bowman, Gibbs, Kyle Busch in 9th, guy who almost won this race last year, guy who did win this race last year, guy who got his first career win here, guy who won on a road course a couple years ago, guy who almost beat SVG in Mexico, and then right below him, Chase Elliott, who used to win every damn road course we went to. So generally, even without digging into all the stats here, of course, they certainly help, and it's great to rank them a little bit, but good to see that the stats kind of aligning with the general opinion of, hey, the road course guys are probably going to do well on the road course. Even AJ Allmendinger not terribly far behind those guys either. Same with McDowell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it always seems to shake out, right? I mean, once you put everything together, it kind of comes together nicely. So yeah, it's something I trust. I think I trust it more this week than I did the last 2 weeks because Super Speedways just had a little more chaos. So this is the first week where I feel like you can really kind of tune into the model and especially like, I said it in the Discord earlier, like I love using it for matchups. Like find 2 guys that are matched up pretty close together, find how far they are separated in the model, and that's typically how I choose my matchups. So tons of use for it. I'm pulling in multiple different data sources. I think I probably got 15 columns here of stuff that I pull in. So come join us in Discord at the very least if you're on already.
Yeah, a lot of fun over there. Just the chat, and then when you realize the model's making us all money, if you haven't paid yet, go ahead and pay and We appreciate all the work that you guys put into it. Feel free to throw in any thoughts, whether in general or related to the model, as I go through some of the trends here. First of all, in qualifying, which, like we talked about, this is the first week you can kind of start to have some fun with it. The leaders in starting position averaged over the last few races. Tyler Reddick, a 2.2 average starting spot. He knows how to wheel his way around here. Chase Elliott with 4 starts out of the 5 total in second place with an average of 8th place. SVG in his pair of starts has averaged a P9 starting spot. Suarez and Byron round out the top 5 at 9.2. Pole winners at this track: Reddick ×2, Byron ×2, and Blaney. I know qualifying can be really important at some tracks, not so important here. We have seen the race winner start as deep as 19th in the starting grid here to win, but that's all the deeper it goes. Qualifying in the top 20 at the very least, if not top 10, top 5, maybe even that front row or second row to keep it close to some of those really important road course guys. Qualifying definitely going to be fairly important this week, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a reason why I haven't really finished my card yet. Is because I typically wait for qualifying to kind of make those last few bets, because although we've seen guys win from further back here, just because of the kind of the chaos of turn 1, really, traditionally what we've seen in this next gen car road courses is the qualifying does matter. Or paying attention to guys that you think are going to cut the stage and try and just go for the win or go for the stage points, right? That's all important to keep in mind. So I think qualifying is very important for sure.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see. We talked about it in the Discord a little bit. And hey, another good reason to be over there too, to see any post PNQ ads that we have. But what was the point I was making? Another point I will pivot to, though, is you don't want to start 18th, because then the guy in 25th cuts inside you to turn 1. 3 of you are wrecked, and then it doesn't turn out so well. Anyway, though, back to the trends. Race winners, kind of an asterisk on the first race here. Torrential rains and in the old gen car, and it was shortened. Chase Elliott got the win, though. And then the next gen, Chastain, Reddick, Byron, and Bell have picked up the wins here. 2 drivers, 5 for 5 in top 10s, Tyler Reddick and Alex Bowman. This kind of surprised me, though. 16 active Cup drivers have wins on a road course at the Cup level, so field a little more open than I thought. Average finish leaders at this track: Reddick the best at 4.6, Bowman at 5.2. Makes sense. If you're top 10 every time here, it's going to be better. Chastain at 5.6, Byron 6.2, Chase Elliott 6.3. 4 out of the 5 guys have won here. No one else has a top 10 average finish. 50% of the laps at COTA have been led by 3 drivers: William Byron, Kyle Busch, and Tyler Reddick. Of course, helps when you really dominate one of these races. They're low in lap count, so take that as you may, but it was just an interesting wrinkle I noticed. If you include Chastain and Shane van Gisbergen, 76% of the laps here led by them. 3 of the 5 races have had the final pass for the lead come in the last 6 laps. That includes overtime races in 2022 and 2023. So even though these road courses get kind of strung out, I think the point I was trying to make earlier was it'll be interesting to see with the chase and points meaning more than ever, how guys are going to flip the stages and things like that. But either way, that'll be a wrinkle to watch when you talk about stage winners and bets like that. Probably something I'm staying off of this week. And then when it comes down to the end of it, not necessarily a foregone conclusion. You can see some late passing here.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. I think it's a lot harder to know who's going to go for the stage points now versus like later in the season when we get to like Watkins Glen. It's typically a little bit more predictable because actually I say that, but that we're changing the playoff system. So I don't really know that we're going to know that later in the season, but typically you knew the guys who tend to cut those stages. So, yeah, I mean, and just real quick, I mean, I also typically, it's not part of the model, but it's something that I just do on the side that I like doing. I mentioned I typically put out a Saturday qualifying card. Top 3 ranked in my like kind of separate qualifying model that I do are SVG, Ty Gibbs, and Tyler Reddick. So keep that in your mind, in the memory bank for when pole odds drop.
Yeah, and hey, that makes sense to me. SVG, road course king. Ty Gibbs, again, I've said this before about Ty. Wild to think now that maybe a road course is his best chance at his first Cup victory. And then Reddick, going to be fun to watch him to see if he can be. I think nobody's won 3 in a row to start the year before, and even though we know the SVGs and Ziliches of the world are the favorites, could be really exciting to see Reddick go for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think you've said it in Discord too, right? Just in case SVG and Connor take each other out, it might be worth having a long shot, right?
Yep, and hey, I've got some bets that are related to that. Not necessarily in a particular driver, but a fun one that we'll talk about toward the end here. Any other things you wanted to mention, trends, model discussion, anything before we get the asterisk marks and get to the bets?
Yeah, I think we can move on.
Cool, man. I just want to make sure to give you the opportunity. Appreciate all the work that you throw on the model. I was laughing beforehand. I haven't gotten the chance to really dig deep into it, so wouldn't be surprised if I add some late Saturday bets to the card or something like that. We'll get to the bets in just a second. First, though, Chris is going to tell us about the iFantasyRace.com Asterisk Mark Driver of the Week.
Yes, and this week, courtesy of Ryan over there, it is AJ Allmendinger. He was a top 5 contender last year at COTA, but his race went south late in dramatic fashion. In the race, Allmendinger finished top 10 in stage 1, finished 6th in stage 2, had the 5th best average running position at 6.2, was in 5th with 7 to go, but then over the closing laps, he just had a rapid free fall in the running order, leading to a 30th place finish. Late in the race, Allmendinger complained about being on a bad set of tires and attributing his late free fall to that. In terms of total speed rankings, Allmendinger ranked 9th, and his speed over those segments were 8th, 2nd, and 4th, and then 32nd, which reflects him being slow when he obviously had that problem late. So yeah, AJ Allmendinger, Asterisk Mark Driver of the Week.
Yeah, man, and that's what's tough about the Colleague equipment. TK mentioning SVG, one of his runs, I believe in that Colleague extra team number 13, or no, he was in the 16, but either way, lost first gear, ended up in 20th in that race, not a competitor in that one. Hunter bringing up his odds, plus 130 to win the pole, plus 120 to win the race. Could be interesting there. Appreciate Brian Twining checking in with us as well. Chris making the rounds, getting to sub for Seth. More than just a super sub, though. Glad to have you as part of the IBT family, Chris. Been a lot of fun. And hey, that model, definitely some good numbers. AJ Allmendinger up there as well. One of those guys, I mean, it's crazy we're going to put him in kind of a best of the rest category. But when you have some of these guys that are among the first outrights we're going to talk about, that's kind of how it works. So, Allmendinger,
sorry, go ahead. No, so the only thing that I would note, my asterisk mark on Allmendinger would also be the fact that, I mean, I don't really know what to expect from the Colleague program, given that they are obviously going the Dodge direction. They're not getting that Chevy like technical alliance anymore. So there's a lot of things that they're not going to have access to in this season. So although Allmendinger is obviously great at road courses, I think Colleague as a whole is something to be worried about. So he's an interesting case for sure.
I completely agree, but the Super Speedway program's still working all right over there.
That's fair.
Both Ty Dillon and Allmendinger are like 1 point and 2 point outside of the chase right now. So going better than we might have thought. But like you said, the real season starting in a couple of weeks here could be a little different. But still have some hope, though, for road course guys at a road course. It's going to be fun. One more thing before we get to the bets, want to shout out our partners at WannaParlay. They create fun and exciting competitions that connect people. WannaParlay embodies the joy of winning, the heartbreak of almost winning. We got a little bit of both here on a week-to-week basis in NASCAR, and all the emotions that you experience during competition. This comes from the brains of 2 former Kansas State football players, all about stacking legs, competing with real sport lovers like you and I, and getting real cash wins every day. You can really improve that money that you got and cash out fast. Are you ready to get in the game and flex your parlay legs? You can download the app right now for iOS and Android. Get a 100% deposit match bonus when you use the code IBT at signup. That's code IBT to get a 100% match bonus at WannaParlay. The link to that, just like the links to all the other fun we got going on, in the episode description. So check it out. All right, without further ado, let's get to the bets for the week in the Parking Garage Props. All right, so there's really one place to start here. We got some fun parlays to throw at you tonight, and it's going to start out. Chris, I don't know if you've ever heard of Flight of the Conchords, a New Zealand comedy musical duo. It's business time. It's the Business Time 2026 edition parlay of the week. Going to parlay together Shane van Gisbergen's Cup and O'Reilly Series outrights. That came to plus 231 on Caesars. Also, I have his individual Cup outright boosted to plus 150. And I mean, we could sit here, go through all the stats, won every road course race but this last year. There's, whether it's Cup, whether it's O'Reilly, such a big advantage for SVG. He's just the man on road courses. I feel like I don't need to really go any deeper than that with Shane van Gisbergen.
Yeah, and I'm joining you on basically SVG alone. I called mine the boring parlay because it's not a parlay and it's just boring because it's it's SVG by himself at plus 120 over at D. Yeah, listen, I have probably been one of the loudest of the NASCAR gambling community about Connor. I'm on his over. I think Connor over for the year. I think Connor is going to find his time to shine. I do think there's going to be a time and place where Connor is competing with SVG. I just don't think it's here. I don't think it's in the very first race. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. With that being said, I was tempted. If he opened, and I know in some places he did, but if he opened at like an 8, 9, 10 to 1, I think it's a little bit different story. I think my card looks a little bit different. But by the time I had access to Connor, he was already bet down to like 4 or 5, and that's just too short for me. I couldn't do it in his first race. So for that one, I went with SVG. It's like you said, he's just different. He's different, man. I mean, I know that he hasn't won here yet. I know he didn't finish number 1 in my model this week, but the guy is unreal. And I've lost too much money last year, but on road courses thinking like, what if he doesn't win? And I lost every single week. So I'm trying something different this year. And you know what? I want to actually root for the guy and not root against him.
Yeah, SVG, the clear number 1 pick here. I think you're right about Zilisch in both that he's the guy that can run with SVG and that probably this year he's going to win one of these things, but could even be kind of the same we saw last year, both comparing his experience to SVG, where didn't quite have the setup right, didn't quite have the speed, and saw other guys take the lead while he ended up the back half of the top 10, top 5 in that race. And Zilisch made his Cup debut here, sent it a little too hard and ended up wiping out, and that very well could happen. But my second parlay of the week, I don't know if you heard Logano's radio, people making jokes, the Trackhouse guys. Zilisch was in the purple car last week, sponsored by Tootsie's. Logano probably wasn't sure if it was Zilisch or Chastain. He's saying, man, SVG and the purple one, they're going to take out everybody. So the purple one, my secondary parlay of the week, is I had to get on the Zilisch Cup and O'Reilly parlay as well. That boosted up to plus 950 on Caesars. I also have his individual O'Reilly outright boosted to plus 114. I think those boosts were both on FanDuel, 30% boost. That if I'm going to boost some numbers, you need to boost these road course numbers. I do think it's more likely SVG wins the Cup race. Maybe more likely Zilisch wins the O'Reilly race. We saw him win 10 races last year at the O'Reilly level. Knows those cars probably a little better than Shane, even though Shane won a boatload a couple of years ago there. That battle that's probably going to even be more fun than the Cup battle, honestly. There'll be some other guys that come in there in both series, but realistically, it's going to be one of these two guys that wins the race, and I'm 99.9% sure that's going to be the case.
Oh, yeah, 100% agree. And, you know, we're going to talk about some other O'Reilly guys later, but I do think it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about O'Reilly when these guys aren't running, because when these guys, they're in another level when they're on the track. So
I think the only trouble is most of the road courses are companion events with Cup. So, of course, these guys are going to go around and try to win races. But I have to take a look at the schedules. Of course, week to week, we update you on who's in the races this week. They're both in both races, and they're going to run pretty well. We got somebody here saying, the model is, when Byron is ahead of SVG on a road course. Hey, we're about to talk about William Byron, actually. His numbers at Circuit of the Americas are really, really good. And that's a big part of this, too, as I think it was TK, that talked about it earlier. SVG's COTA stats dragged down a little bit by the last couple of years, not winning and having mechanical problems. Brian mentioning he's on the under SVG 3.5 win total. Be okay with Zilisch winning this week. Hey, there's 4 road courses this year. All you need is Zilisch or somebody else to win one of them. So you got time. The last road course race, I think, is Sonoma in June or July this year, a little earlier than usual. So definitely one that you might have to sweat out a little bit longer, Brian. I feel like SVG gonna be the move this week. But outside of the outrights, we just mentioned William Byron. This is a little squad right here, the top 5. I got it at plus 190 on Caesars. His last 3 races at COTA, P5, P1, P2. Won the pole twice out of those 3 races. Led laps in all 3 of those races as well. Last year, on the other road courses in general, P9 in Mexico City, P8 at Sonoma, P4 at Watkins Glen, P11 on the Roval. Those are all pretty solid results. I know some of them top 10s instead of top 5s. But COTA, a place that really gels well with Byron for whatever reason. Hendrick cars usually pretty quick here too. I like the plus 190. I don't know, Chris, if you have the same number, a lower number, but plus 190 for one of the 5 best drivers at COTA, number 1 in the model to finish top 5. One of the ones I'm more enthusiastic about the most this week.
Yep, I'm on the same exact number, same exact bet. I think this is well worth the price. I mean, obviously, we spent so much time talking about SVG and Connor, but I think the running order for 3rd, 4th, 5th is going to be fun to watch. I think you've got guys like Byron and Reddick and Bell and guys like that, but I feel the best about those is Byron. I mean, he's so consistent, and at COTA alone, second in average running position in the last 4 years, like in the next gen era at COTA, second in drive rating here. You mentioned his finishes, right? I mean, he's got a first, second, one bad one, 31st. Oh no, I'm not reading the wrong line. I'm sorry. Second, first, fifth, and 12th. So 75% of the time he's got a top 5. So yeah, I'm feeling really good about a plus 190 on William Byron. And Hendrick also just tends to do really good like at the beginning of the season, especially when we get to the first road course. So I think 24 is going to be solid.
Yeah, some of the Hendrick guys need a little more momentum. A couple of them getting caught up in multiple crashes to start the year, as I'm about to talk about. But with Byron, I mean, he's going to be right up there. Chase Briscoe, when he ran second at Sonoma last year, he joked about, hey, I finished best in class behind SVG by umpteen million seconds. And very well could be the case again this year where SVG and Zilisch could be way out in front of everybody, but that best in class battle in the back half of the top 5 going to be exciting. A little bit of a reach to put my guy Alex Bowman in the top 5. Like him a lot for a top 10, though, plus 130 on Caesars. Thought it was a good number, a little longer than some other books. Even my Bet365, my favorite book of the year, as I talked about in the offseason, had his top 10 a little lower than this. And for good reason, there's something about COTA that has just clicked for Alex. He's never not run top 10 here, just like Reddick, who we're about to talk about. Nearly won the race in 2022, that exciting finish. Chastain plays pinball with Allmendinger and Bowman, takes the win there. Heck of a last lap there. Multiple issues last year for the 48 team. Had I don't know if it was also a pit road thing, but had a course cutting penalty, had to stop, lost a bunch of spots. Got back to the top 10 though. He knows how to run around this course, and man, they need some momentum. Got caught in other people's messes twice to start the season, wrecking out at Daytona and Atlanta, but also you put yourself in mid-pack and you're not running up front on the super speedways. That's what's going to happen. I have some faith the team can do a little better here on one of clearly Alex's favorite tracks. They're not going to want to get caught in someone else's mess again. So qualify up toward the front. Maybe if they don't, the number could get a little better because you're at risk of being that pinball lap 1, turn 1 that can kind of kill your whole day if you get hit in the wrong spot. Plus 130 though for a top 10 on Bowman, one of the tracks, probably one of the 5 tracks in the series that I'm uber confident about him getting in the top 10.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, no complaints here. He ranked 6th for me this week. You mentioned, right, he's got a 4.5 place average finish over the course of 4 races here. Don't forget, he also won at Chicago 2 years ago. So like he knows how to get the job done at road courses. Yeah. And Dale Jr. actually said on his podcast this week too, he's like, Alex may not be one of the like front runners, so to speak, when it comes to road courses, but he's also a guy that just somehow avoids the mess and just makes it to the end, which I feel like we've also said about Daytona and Atlanta the last 2 weeks too. He's just a guy that just knows how to get to the end. So yeah, I think this is a great number on Alex Bowman.
Well, hey, that strategy did not work at Daytona and Atlanta. So hopefully for the 48 team works for them at COTA. And we mentioned the other guy who's top 10 here every time we come here, the guy who nearly ran Alex down at 2024 Chicago, but thankfully hit the wall in the middle of the track, gave the 48 the win. We're both on some Tyler Reddick bets this week. You've got the top 10 minus 120 on DraftKings. Yeah.
He ranks 3rd for me this week. He's a guy that I always kind of key on when it comes to COTA. I mean, I just can't get the race out of my head. Was it 2024, I think, when, I mean, he practically lapped the field. I mean, he was on a completely different strategy and still, like, it blew up in his face and he still won the race. I mean, he was just so incredibly good that day. And yeah, I mean, Reddick may not be the guy that he was when he was in the RCR 8 when it comes to road courses, but he's still around. He's still a guy that is, he's typically hanging in like, 4th, 7th place or whatever. Doesn't make mistakes unless it's the final wall at Chicago that he doesn't need to hit. But otherwise, yeah, like I said, ranks 3rd for me, ranks 1st in average finish over the course of the next gen races at COTA with a 5th, 1st, 5th, and a 3rd. So it's not finished worse than 5th at COTA. Yeah, and yeah, Brian with a good comment there. Reddick is, I mean, we're going for 3 in a row. He's playing with free money right now. The last 2 weeks were not expected. Has like a 40-point gap on the field right now. He just has to be going out there with so much fun, like with just so much confidence.
Yeah, I like Reddick a lot this week for sure. Not on that top 10. I am on a matchup though, him over Christopher Bell at plus 140 on Bet365. To be honest with you, that just felt like Bell's great here too. Obviously won last year. It felt like such a long number, such a wide disparity over 2 of the 3 to 5 best guys on road courses, including the guy who's 2 for 2 to start the year, and the other guy to never run top 10 here, Tyler Reddick. or never not run top 10 here. My fault. But a plus 140 on him just to beat Bell. I think there is a chance he could go mix it up again if you see some issues at the front of the field, or if you're battling for the best in class here. Reddick over Bell at a plus 140. It just felt like such a long number to me. I couldn't not take it.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I looked at this and I was like, I was just shocked that it was actually plus 140. I feel like it should be closer. They're ranked 3rd and 5th for me in the model, with Reddick being over top of Bell. I will say I did look at Bell's finishes here, and he seems to get better every single. He went like from a 3rd to a 2nd to a 1st in the last 3 years. It's going to be a fun one to watch. I think getting plus money on a matchup that I feel like probably should be close to even on both sides is totally fair.
Yeah, I mean, I would have expected this to be maybe a minus 115 pick 'em.
Yeah.
Ryan making a good point that I probably say for at least 2 or 3 bets every week. You got to bet the numbers over the drivers sometimes. And I got faith in Reddick, the driver, and Reddick, the number here too. Don't think he gets to 3 in a row, but going to be a very respectable day for the 45 car. You flip that 45 to a 54, and you got your matchup here. I want to check in, though. Is this your matchup for the head-to-head contest, or are you looking potentially in a different direction for that?
No, this is my head-to-head contest. I did not play any money on this because minus 160 is a little too rich for my blood, but in our game we can play it to minus 175. And this one was shocking, honestly, when I saw it. I mean, it's a 15 place disparity in the numbers that I'm putting together. I know Ty has a lot of drama going on in his surrounding area right now, but if anything, does that not want you to like go out there and kind of prove yourself? And this is the track type that he has. I truthfully thought Ty Gibbs was going to get his first win last year at road courses. He just looked incredible. Although I think Ty is very good at road courses, I think he still just makes a little too many mistakes and now has just one more guy to compete with Connor. So I don't know if he's going to necessarily get a win in a road course, but I mean, all I need him to do is finish top 10. Bubba has never beaten Ty Gibbs at COTA, and he only beat Bubba last year twice at the road courses. Bubba only beat Ty twice at the road courses last year whenever Ty had an issue and finished in the 30s. So this matchup it's priced accurately, but for our game, it works.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear you say there's no coin on this because, I mean, Ty Gibbs, obviously a better road course driver than Bubba Wallace. Is he worth betting a minus 160 on this matchup? No. If you compare 2025 to 6 Ty Gibbs against 2021 Bubba Wallace on road courses, this is probably a minus 250 bet. Very easy.
Yeah.
Bubba has gotten better year over year over year on the road courses. He's had a good start to the year, just hasn't come up with a checkered flag. This is going to be a lot closer than a minus 160 warrants. But yeah, I'm glad it's just a head-to-head matchups contest. My head-to-head picks in the O'Reilly series, so I will save it for later. But let's bring it up here real quick. The standings board. We're on top, baby. Me and you, along with Blurry Kyle and Lars 222. We are 2 for 2 in the matchups contest. You got Blaze Wolf, Trav, Jake, and Rod all hitting 1. Seth and the rest unable to have hit 1 so far. Remember, this is an exclusive paid benefit to the IBT Racing family. Entry into that contest for an autographed mystery diecast and a plaque from thedynastydex.com. Shout out to them for that. A lot of fun throughout the year and a lot of fun for us staying 2 for 2 on it. Seth already, he has actually got coin on the matchup I was talking about, so you can get a little spoiler if you want to look. But we got some other Cup Series numbers. First, I got a couple specials that I want to get your input on here. First one, winning number under 48.5, plus 155 via Caesars. It's a market that I was interested in at the beginning of the week when I was thinking about it. Okay, so your 2 favorites run the 88 and the 97. Are we going to see an over-under like 88.5? Obviously, you can't because they're the 2 lowest in the series. Interesting place to split it, though, but it gives you a lot of insurance. And this right here at a plus 155, it's my primary form of insurance in case Shane and Connor have issues or in case they fuck each other over racing for the win and somebody else ends up taking it. So this gives you 30 of the 37 entries in the field under 48.5, including some potential winners. Going to throw out some numbers for you. The 1 of Chastain, the 2 of Cindric, 5 of Larson, 7 of Suarez, 8 Kyle Busch, 9 Chase Elliott. Such a long list, you got to clear your throat. 16 of Allmendinger, 17 of Buescher, 19 of Briscoe, 20 of Bell, 23 of Wallace, 24 of Byron, 45 of Reddick, 48 of Bowman, who all on their day could win this race. Some guys more likely than others, of course, but all on their day could win it. And I didn't even mention 3 of the top veterans in the sport. Denny Hamlin in the 11, Ryan Blaney in the 12, Joey Logano in the 22. They're not great road course drivers, but if the race falls into their lap, they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot. I didn't even mention the 34 Todd Gilliland and the 38 Zane Smith. They have both won here in the Truck Series. So I understand that even though you only have 7 guys in the over here, you lose SVG, you lose Zilisch, you do lose Ty Gibbs, and you lose Michael McDowell. But especially that 54 and 71, they are no more likely to win this race than 2/3 of all those guys that I mentioned earlier. Like I said, it's an insurance policy. It's not a gigantic bet. It's a little insurance policy in case the 2 front runners have something happen to them.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I mean, you're already on SVG and Connor with parlays. So now you have this to kind of play your insurance, like you said. So yeah, you're just basically in case there is a overtime caution and there's going to be chaos in that turn 1.
Yeah. Oh God.
Then you've got this ticket in your back pocket. So yeah, I mean, I can't disagree. I mean, obviously you know what you're rooting for, right? You're rooting for, I guess in this case you're rooting for the chaos, but for your other tickets you're not. So
well, I have a little bit more on the other tickets than I do on the insurance policy, so we'll roll with that. And I want to take one more spin of the roulette wheel before we wrap up the cup numbers. Even number to win at plus 165. Another one of those. You bet the numbers more than the drivers. The odds disparity here is just wide enough to bet it. The numbers that this gives, you get the 2 of Cindric, the 8 of Busch, the 16 of Allmendinger, the 20 of Bell, 24 of Byron, 48 of Bowman, 54 of Gibbs, 60 of Priest, 88 of Zilisch, all guys who could possibly take the win. The worries that I have with this, the 1 of Chastain, the 5 of Larson, the 9 of Elliott, the 19 of Briscoe, 45 Reddick, 71 McDowell, and of course, the 97 of Shane van Gisbergen. But like I said, that's just enough guys to make me have some belief in it at a plus 165 compared to those worries that I mentioned. It's one of those where I bet the numbers and maybe in addition to the insurance policy here.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the way you spin it with the roulette because that's what it is, right? I mean, you're you're just hoping that it goes around and lands on what you want. So yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, really, I mean, you get Zilisch in this one. So like the other one you didn't. This one you at least get that insurance. So that's cool.
Yeah, I gotta spin the roulette wheel and hope it hits. And hey, a couple of different ways all these could go together. In terms of cup bets, that's all we've got. A couple in the O'Reilly series for me though, and I want to start with another kind of an insurance policy, small unit bet, but also one that excites me. Hopping on the Brent Cruz outright at 18-1. We know the kid's a solid road course driver. We saw him in the trucks last year. Ran up front at the Roval. Has had some good runs. He's got a chance to really upset the dynamic of that Zilisch and SVG and everything else. Young upstart driver, has to get out of the seat after this for a couple more weeks before this. But we saw the 19. They won the owner's title last year. It's going to mostly be Cruz in this seat. And he's a guy that we're definitely going to have to watch a lot this year. Would be surprised if he didn't get his first win. And even his championship tickets are a lot juicier than I would expect for a guy not running the full year. That's how much faith everyone else has in Brent Cruz as well.
Yeah, and I'm right there with the faith with Brent Cruz. I'm a big Brent Cruz guy. He actually is from my hometown. So I talked about on Phil's show, I went on Full Tank Phil's show for like a silly season kind of season preview show. He is in the same camp pretty much as Connor and Jesse. They all hang out together. He's the youngest karting champion in the world, I'm pretty sure is what I read. Like he won the karting championship like 13 years old. I mean, this kid's real. I mean, he's going to be good. It just is super unfortunate that we have SVG and Connor in the field this week, but keep Cruz in your back pocket for the next road course because I think he's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I like Brian's opinion here. If it's odds for third, he'd be down unless SVG and Zilisch wreck each other. Nobody has a chance. Hey, I've got the insurance policy in case they fuck each other over in Cup. I've got a little one here too. One more road course bet for me. If you know me, if you've watched the show before, you know who I'm betting next. Unfortunately, the books so far, at least of this afternoon, a little too chicken shit to throw out top 10 odds, but throw me down on a bonus bet for the Austin Green top 5 at plus 450. I'm hoping the top 10s come out. I'll put a small fortune, at least in terms of my normal betting units, would go on an Austin Green top 10 and will every single road course race they put it out. But had some extra bonus bets, had a little referral code on Caesars to somebody. So I'm like, hey, perfect time to throw down a bonus bet, not lose any real stake. But again, I'm putting out the caveat. If the top 10 comes out, I'm on it. You'll see it. I'm putting a small fortune on it. Just like I did. Portland was a big sweat last year. I'd never put more money on a NASCAR bet than last year at Portland, Austin Green for a top 10. And he made me sweat it. but he ends up in the top 10 late in the race. Again, in case I need to remind you, last year on road courses, mechanical issue here, which was tough, but he finished 7th in his first O'Reilly start here in 2024. So he's run top 10 here. Finished top 10 at every other road course last year. Every other road course last year except for Sonoma, and he was 11th. So top 11 every road course where the car held together. This year, Peterson Racing in the 87 going in on their own with an RCR alliance, not the same Jordan Anderson setups they have. Could be a good thing rather than a bad thing. He ran that 87 at the Roval last fall. Connor Zilisch wins. Second place, Austin Green in that yellow number 87 that I'm pretty sure he'll be running again. Top 5, again, a bonus bet. I probably wouldn't have put a lot of real cash on this. The top 10, definitely a better number. But Austin Green is a guy that's on my radar every single road course. A guy that, it's easy to root for him now. A great story, great family history in NASCAR, getting the full-time opportunity this year. Ran pretty respectively, top 15 the whole race on super speedways before running into some issues. And a guy who I'm excited to watch. I'm probably not betting in many ovals, but every road course, man, that 87, going to be fun to watch and mix it up. Probably in the best of the rest category. Definitely in the best of the rest category. What am I kidding? But a fun guy to watch when you're making lefts and rights.
Yeah, and I don't know if, truthfully, I don't know if he's running anything else this year or not, but it'll be fun to see whenever we have a field without Connor and SVG, because I think the O'Reilly Series is wide open in red road course when those two guys aren't running. So yeah, I don't really have a lot to add here. You clearly have a really strong affinity to him, but hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I mean, there wasn't any sort of, with Bowman, I joke, I'm a fan of his. Let me put on the rose-colored, purple-colored glasses. The reason I started watching this kid was I was like, hey, he kicks ass every single road course. Why am I not making money on this? And just following his story, realizing, he's got, I think he's David Green's son, Jeff Green's nephew, guys who have done really well in the O'Reilly Series, Busch Series as it was previously called, former champions of that series. So a guy that's easy to pull for, and a guy that made me a lot of money last year. I'm hoping for the same on this Austin Green number 87 machine this year. TK, yes, he is full-time this year in that Peterson number 87. So it's going to be fun to watch on all the road courses. And like I said, top 10 odds, put them out there. Please, books. We'll bet them. Bet365 did some last year. FanDuel had him for the Daytona race. And then one of the other books, I think the Score, would put them out usually. So hopefully they come out again. All right, so to round us out here, my head-to-head matchups contest pick is an O'Reilly Series matchup. Ross Chastain at plus 105 via BetRivers over Justin Allgaier. Another one of those where it's playing the numbers just the same as it is anything else. Chastain in that 32 car, which Austin Green put in the top 10 a lot last year. They probably learned something there too. Jordan Anderson Racing did. And Allgaier, of course, great on every track in the O'Reilly Series. The road courses, though, you're not normally looking at Allgaier as a favorite. Ross, previous winner here in the Cup level at 2022, and one of those guys who can really send it. If you're going to be in turn one, Chastain's going to be the guy to send it into you. He's not going to be the guy to back off. He's not going to be someone who you're worried about getting hit. He's going to be the battering ram to get to you. So at a plus money number, plus 105, give me the 32 over the 7 for my matchup of the week. Chastain, not a full-time guy. Give me the advantage of him on the chaotic tracks.
Yeah, and we didn't really touch on Chastain much on the Cup side, but he is 4th in average finish here in the next gen era at COTA with a 1st, a 4th, a 7th, and a 12th. So, clearly is a guy that loves this track. He's good here, and throw him in the O'Reilly Series. I think he's going to be easily a top 5 guy. He's going to have to be, I think, to probably beat Allgaier. So, yeah.
But hey, plus 105, give me the number and the driver here. And yeah, if you guys, we didn't really touch on, Chastain on the Cup side too. Austin Hill is a better road course guy than we give him credit for. Ran up here, 2 years ago? Didn't he win here? It was like him, Sam Mayer, and SVG all running up front. And I think Hill in 24 got the win here. So guys, we haven't touched on yet. But again, the beauty of the IBT Racing family, if you want to chat about it some more when we're not here live on the YouTube on Thursday nights or whenever you're listening back to this, we'll be chatting about it over in the fam, and it's free to come and chat with us about it. If you want to see the official bets we're throwing down, though, $3.99 a month or $36 for the year, not $36.99, just $3.99, gives you access to Chris's awesome betting model in collaboration with Seth and Ryan for My Fantasy Race. And that head-to-head matchups contest. Just going to put this up here one more time for us while we are in the lead here. Who knows if it's going to stick, but the two of us currently tied with Blurry Kyle and Lars 222 for the lead. Seth, man, I know you're wanting to catch up. Jake with a point on the board is impressive. I don't know if he's a big NASCAR guy, big golf guy. Obviously, racing family, football family, entertainment family, golf family, all inclusive. A lot of fun in all of those. A lot of fun on our new channel as well, _Backroad here on YouTube. If you want to hear Seth and I talk trucks and talk IndyCar down in St. Petersburg, going to be an exciting race weekend. You'll go there to see that. If you're listening live on Thursday, that's going to be out at some point on Friday, heading into the Saturday race weekend. Sunday for the IndyCar, Saturday for the trucks. That's going to be a fun one. I don't know if you're done anything for the trucks, but I want to give you the opportunity if you got any opinions, at least on what should be a really fun weekend down there in Florida.
Yeah, you kind of know me. I stick to Cup. I'm not really an O'Reilly and truck guy. I'm in it for the fandom on that side.
Hey, and that's what I figured. But and I'm really glad the trucks are doing this, running the street course. It's got big time shit show potential, but big time fun potential as well. Running in down on a street course. It's going to be exciting to watch. Seth and I talk about our bets over there and talking a little IndyCar too. That new channel for the sub shows that we do. That's going to be our primary home as well. For Formula One discussion, they are coming back next week with the Australian Grand Prix. Certainly going to put out some sort of content on that. Going to be fun to watch. All the fun that we'd have here. I joked in the other episode that you'll see. I use the word fun a lot. Seth, you got to send me a thesaurus because that's been the word of the night for me. Always lots of great stuff happening in the IBT fam and lots of great stuff. The place to follow you, Chris, _hunting to get all your best bets as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I have to shout out Brian Twining. He's been in the comments all night. He actually just joined the Discord during the show. So shout out to you, Brian.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate you hopping in.
But yeah, all our bets will be over at _hunting. We also track everything on Action Network as well. So as soon as I bet something, I do track it over there. And then I'll put it in our Discord as well. This will probably be the first week where I'll probably have some qualifying sweats. So stay tuned to that. I give you a little preview of kind of who ranked well for me. So that's something to stay tuned to. And then, yeah, I'm like I said, so far on the Cup side, all I've got is SVG outright. And then the Reddick top 10, Byron top 5. So that's pretty much what I have for now. And we'll see if anything else shakes out come Sunday.
Yeah, hey, and they're all good numbers too, because I'm on the same 3 drivers in some way, shape, or form. Hey, volume betting versus some lighter betting, lots of different ways to go about it. Regardless of how you like to bet, we both hope your bets go very well for this weekend. COTA St. Pete, wherever you're betting. Thanks for riding on down the back road with us, and we'll see you next time.